work we're going to do tonight is on sabotage. What is it? Why is it just absolutely crucial to understand? And now what? Now that you understand this, what do you do? So first thing I want to cover with, if you're new or fairly new, much of what I do is very tools-based. It's all standard naming convention. So this is the Peekaboo Street tool. So if we're ever talking and I'll say, have we covered Peekaboo Street? And you'll go, well, what does that mean? And I'll start and you'll go, remember? And I'll go, great, now I can go to the punchline and tell you why we brought this up. And it's also helpful for you to use these tools this way as you're explaining to other people as well. So Peekaboo Street is always paired. You can see down in my menu bar there on the right with the sabotage tool, they always come in pairs because you always must understand failure as part of what is sabotage. Failure is healthy, it's a positive, it enhances, it creates growth, it creates wisdom. We love failure. Sabotage, on the other hand, not so much. And so in order to cover that and understand that, we got to understand failure first. So a little refresher if you've not done the Peekaboo Street tool. The question is, when Peekaboo, and if you don't remember, depending on some of the ages of the audience, we might have to update this to Lindsey Vaughn here one of these days. Peekaboo was a downhill gold medal winner in the 90s. First woman gold medalist, I think, from the United States in downhill ski racing. Lindsey Vaughn has certainly picked up the banner and moved on. There's a number of reasons why I use Peekaboo Street. One of them being I know her. She's a friend of mine. So it's always fun to recognize what an absolute rock star and how awesome that she is. My question for you, let me get my screen adjusted here. The question asks, when Peekaboo Street skis hit the top of Vail, by law, who's fallen more than anyone on the mountain that day? And for anybody who wrestles with this, when you kind of think of the three categories, there's green slopers, just learning to ski. They haven't fallen as much as her. What's interesting in the middle skill levels, what we in the ski world call blue slopers, they work very hard on not falling. So at the end of the day, if they've skied all day, had a good day, looked good, rode good chairs, had fun, and not fallen, they'll be in the bar afterwards bragging like, hey, I didn't fall. How great was that? But the problem is when you don't fall, you don't learn either. So we know the middle ones, they're focused on not falling. And so now in the expert, the black slopers, the reason why they've not fallen as much as Peekaboo Street is because they don't ski as hard, as fast, as, on and over the edge of their skis as she does, so that on that magical day in Nagano when, half the women's field has crashed, half the women's field has slowed down, she comes over that hill and you hear the announcer go, Bob, I think she's going to die. She's 100 feet in the air. She's having a hard time, but she sticks the landing. She maintains control, and she beats the women's field by a full almost second and a half, which in ski racing is like eternity. That's like being 20 yards ahead of somebody, when you score a touchdown. It's just unheard of to win at that. And also buried in here, if you did not catch it, Eleanor Roosevelt. And one of the reasons why we anchor this, if you have not seen the Towards and Away video, which is the #1 biggest tool, Eleanor Roosevelt is in that tool. And it's very important to understand her role in this. She asked the question, is failure the opposite of success? And of course, everyone says, no, it is. It's not. You know what I'm asking, because failure, when most people think about it, they say, I didn't succeed, I failed. So they view it as the opposite. But you're on a call for growth and wisdom and consciousness and greatness. Eleanor Roosevelt says, no, not only is it not, it's integral to success. And the greater the success you want, the greater the fail you must have in order to get there. Now, also in the slide, which is really, really important, again for newcomers, as you see my notations, you always can ask for the 5 pages of shorthand that I use, but this stands for the law of attraction, LOA. I'm not hung up on it as I talk about all the schools of thought, whether you are New Age like this, whether you're quantum physics, whether you're biblical. Most people look at this tool and say, well, wait a second, Bill, you teach the law of attraction, so if she's fallen more than anybody else, is she attracting falling and failing? And the answer is no. That is a byproduct of what she is focused on. She is focused on requesting, asking for, wanting all the time speed, 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 and more speed. Now this is what failure looks like. It is falling, failing, going as fast as you can, losing an edge. They tend to be horrific, more dangerous, awful crashes than other falls. And this is how we get to our gold medal. Now the reason why we need to understand that, let's go look at what the sabotage tool teaches us, and why is this different from falling and failing. This is your standard sabotage looking kind of fall, and really what happens is, the very first thing when you're in something over your head, meaning that maybe you intended it, you said, okay, today I'm going to do, double black when you've just been doing black, or you go to black, or sometimes it's an accident. Sometimes, and now we like to always put them in business metaphors, you're in a meeting and, you're handling projects, and all of a sudden you get a project that is bigger than what you're used to. You're in an area that feels like you're over your head. Now, back to the skiing metaphor, the very first thing, first thing that happens when you're in over your head is that, oops, sorry about that. Oh, good grief. Sorry about that, everybody. This should be closed. When you're in over your head, the very first thing that happens is you start to go faster than you're comfortable with. So you try and brake, you try and carve. And then in the very next nanosecond, the very next breath, you start getting even more speed on a slope that you're not comfortable with. You're going faster, faster, and faster. It's getting crazy. And you try to brake harder, carve harder, even more speed. And then in one very fast second, boop, you fall over as a way to brake and carve. This is not failing. When you manufacture this kind of sliding fall, ooh, I was going too fast, so I kind of just went over on my side. That is braking and carving. That is not a failure. So still in the metaphor and being real, how do we fall and sabotage in real life? We do things like we will procrastinate on turning in our reports. We don't make the phone calls on our list. We might procrastinate on them, or we'll play a couple of games of computer cards before we get started. We forget, oh, I was supposed to write that person. I forgot. I forgot to be timely. I hurried through the response and I left out important information. Oh, I'm late. I'm always late. I'm running late. Oh, my life is so busy. The reason why we know these are all in the sabotage is you generally are never late, for your children. You don't leave them at daycare or at school once in a blue moon, not habitually. So it's the difference between never and habitually. We all are late from time to time, but it's not habitual. You habitually procrastinate on reports. You habitually are not on your call list. You habitually not flesh out all the information. Now this last one has a little code in there. That stands for the 3 most important verbs that take place when you decide on something, when you commit to do it, and now you integrate that decision. Those escalating power verbs are very, very important. We're not doing that tonight. I just wanted to tie some dots and connect some dots. So the point is we talk about speed, because we're now back in the metaphor, but we don't decide it. We certainly don't commit to it, and we don't integrate speed in our life. Now, when you look at how kids learn how to ski, they just bomb down the hill, and picture this kid, they're just going so fast. They're wobbling all over the place, and when they fall, they're a big fall. They're an absolute upside down fall. They just go garage sale all over the slopes. That's not, remember that woman who just kind of slid delicately and perfectly to this nice little braking stop and then kind of traversed off the mountain. Kids go bombing down, occasionally 1 out of 10, they're awful falls. Parents run up, oh, little Billy, are you okay? And Billy's crying. 9 out of 10 times when he's crying, run up to little Billy, high-five and go, oh, that was an awesome fall. That was so cool. That was great. When's the last time your boss at work or someone in your life came over and high-fived you for the awesome fall? They go, oh, that failure in that meeting, oh, let's go to lunch and talk about how screwed you are, because I got screwed last week. Children bomb down, fall, get up, cry. They're having fun while they're falling. They're out of control, but it's out of control is where you learn to brake and carve at higher speeds. And having fun. So what does this look like? Turn your reports in on time. Make a level 10 effort. Pick up the phone. Make your phone calls. Write. Get the email out. Do it timely. Do it thoroughly. No matter what the consequences are. Worried about this or that, get it out. Make it your best. Be on time always. If that's your standard, again, it's not about being occasionally late. That's a failure. Being habitually late, that's sabotage. Decide on speed. Commit to speed. Integrate that new speed. For anybody who wants that, tell Brian, because we can send that tool. Again, that's not what today's about. You can always ask about that in the Q&A section. But those 3 powerful verbs are really, really important.